Hey everybody, just getting set up here for the next update. Getting some new reports. I've been waiting on that. Let's see, make sure I'm live here. Live on TikTok and Instagram. Okay. All right, so we've been dealing with more in the way of power outages. I'm starting to get some pretty ominous reports here coming out of Franklin County, actually, out of northeast Franklin County. I'm going to give you a precise location. This is off of Google Maps, and let's see, we'll put up the kind of the regular traffic kind of map. Let's see if I can find it. This is Roanoke City, and as you make your way over Windy Gap Mountain or whatever, there's a little road here called, I just got this off of the scanner, so you had to, Winter Hill Drive. There are several large trees down, and they are wrapped into a lot of wiring, and there's at least one power pole that's broken. That kind of makes sense because the storm was very intense as it came over Roanoke and out of the Manita area of Bedford County. Continued to move down North Shore here near Hardy. So it looks like from Hardy to Bay Rock there, that's 633. That's Simmons Cemetery, Cross Creek Farm, right where I dropped that pin there on Google. Let's see if I can get you situated. There we go. So that's on the north end of the lake. There's good view. This is where we have reported damage just now coming into dispatch from Franklin County. So several reports of trees down, and the first responders, the fire department, they can't even get to the trees to remove them because the wiring is all wrapped into the tree. That's something you can see with straight line winds or a tornado or a gustnado, but it's there. Just a lot of debris. Starting to get a lot more scanner reports. So we figured that would happen as folks kind of come out of hiding and start to get some damage reports in. Now, we still have some strong storms, although the official warnings for severe thunderstorms have mostly been allowed to expire. Let me see if this is better. There's a setting for talking. I don't know which is better. Anyway, this is what's left of that thunderstorm complex. Still formidable. We still have a lot of lightning and a lot of rain occurring from Campbell County now into northern Pennsylvania County and to Rocky Mount as well. And then we've got down here, this is what really concerns me. Far southwest Virginia, Tazewell County is under a flash flood warning. Bland County under a flash flood warning until, that also includes McDowell County and southern Mercer, until 2:45 in the morning. These storms are dumping a lot of rainfall, and we can pop up our NDI source here, and we'll show you, scoot on over here. You can see the high clouds associated with this storm complex, all of the lightning there that continues. But what I can do is I can zoom in and we can look at the rainfall rates. And those are those brightly colored purples and blues, the darker blues and the whites there that you see. We're going to probe that and see what we can find here. And when air masses like this get this hot and humid, they can put down a lot of water. So let me get rid of the mezzo here. We've got flash flood warnings in effect for another several hours, in fact. So if we probe, there's a delay. Between Richlands and Tazewell, it's raining at 4.2 inches an hour. with this flash flood warning. Can you imagine? That is like seeing over an inch of rain every 15 minutes. That could be some severe flash flooding. And I'm very concerned about Princeton, Narrows, and the Giles County. I've covered flash flooding in Giles County. It's something about the topography there that also kind of helps funnel the water in. That's a big problem when you live in the mountains. Even when it's dry outside, the ground can get kind of hard and it doesn't absorb the water. So these torrential downpours, it's like somebody took a bucket and just dropped the rain out of the sky. And so these are the latest rainfall rates. And I'm seeing now 4.7 inches of rain per hour. And the problem is, if these storms were moving along, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But look at this. Let's see. Go out a little bit more. Now we're going to look at Floyd County and Christiansburg. This is kind of more isolated, but 4.5 inches of rain an hour. Here's I-81, 2.9 inches of rain an hour to 3 inches of rain an hour. How do you think driving on I-81 feels right now, or even one of these backcountry roads? You could bet there's some flooding going on. Although the lightning's distracting, there's probably some wind damage in here as well. And this rainfall continues to kind of train over the same areas. So I am extremely concerned with the fact that some areas have probably already had between 1 and 3 inches of rain, and we're probably going to put about 3 to 5 inches on top of that. I think by midnight, we're going to see some major flooding if we don't get this rain out of here in far southwest Virginia. So here it is on the radar screen. And there you see southern West Virginia. There's the West Virginia state line. There's a Bluefield, Virginia, and a Bluefield, West Virginia there. And you can see just a lot of heavy rain, just a big blob of it. And that's when as soon as we signed off, we got these 2 flash flood warnings in effect. But watch the end of this loop. It looked like those storms were dropping south, and they were. But it's the tail end of those storms that has stalled, and they are not moving. In fact, if you look at Grundy, it's just cell after cell after cell that continues from Richlands into Tazewell and Bland. I would be heading to higher ground. Now, this is a dangerous situation with all this rainfall coming down, and I can isolate the areas of heavier rain. It's a little sloppy, but where you see the oranges and the greens and the yellows, that's where there's just so much water coming down. Normally you see a little bit of this cranberry kind of pinkish color, but when you see these values here in the orange and the yellow, that's where the radar beam is being deflected by the amount of water in the air. It basically refracts it, and it comes back a lot later, and the radar can do their own calculations on rainfall rates. So we have some incredible rain happening right now between War and Tip Top and Tazewell, and downstream too. Watch out, or this would be upstream technically, I believe. Marion, Saltville, Wytheville, Bland, but certainly heading into West Virginia, because they've already received a lot of apartment flooding in and around the Beckley area, and the flood problems continue up to Charleston there as it makes its way up to the Ohio River. So you got to remember, here on this side of the viewing area, the water's going north, and that's a lot of water that's got to go somewhere. It's still falling, and that's the other big concern. And it's now developing more in the Christiansburg and Blacksburg, so it does look like, let me put this in motion, it does look like those colliding outflow boundaries were able to pick up on something, and it looks like they left a little front here. Looks like they have, let's see, like a little boundary. Let me find it. So here go our storms. And right through here, I don't think the front's moving anymore. I think it's stalled. And it may be moving out this way, but right through Lebanon and Southwest Virginia near I-81, this area here could be dealing with some major flash flooding. And I say that with concern because at night it's almost impossible to know if there's even a road up underneath some of those shallow looking pools of water that you're used to seeing if you live in an area. You may say, okay, it's just flooding again. It's only a few inches deep. I'm going to drive across that. And you get there and there's no road underneath. Water's very powerful and it can do some weird things. It's actually like being hit with a solid object. It's very fluid, but it's very, very powerful. Now, we've got these new wind damage reports coming in and hail reports coming in from the Roanoke Valley. And let's show you what these storms did as they came out of the areas that we were first concerned with, and now the areas that we're dealing with here. Roanoke Airport reported a 52 mile per hour wind gust. Salem has multiple trees down near Ridgewood Farms. We've got in Botetourt 2 different reports of 60 mile per hour winds right next to each other. We just got another report in from West Virginia of one tree down on Indian Mills Road. So, just about everywhere there's some tree damage, at least of some sort. And this is while the severe thunderstorm warning was in effect. You go up toward Buchanan, and I mentioned you in Buchanan because I knew you were going to get hit hard there. Law enforcement reporting power lines down there, and got a hail report of up to an inch, which is severe. That does the damage. So 50 to 60 mile per hour winds made it from Blue Ridge, which is southern Botetourt County, into Roanoke City and then into the Salem area as well. I believe I have a weather cat that needs inside. Hold on one second, and then we're going to talk about you in Southside. You're in this gray area here from Appomattox down through Rustburg and Southside. A special weather statement in effect. It's not a warning, but it's still just a heads up that you've got some weather headed your way in terms of some stronger storms there and some heavier downpours and maybe some 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, but you can see it really losing its punch as it moves farther to the south. It's the stuff to the west. It's the stuff out here that I'm concerned about. So we're going to give Dot a little air time. Stand by. You're on the air. It's okay. Get inside. Oh, she's soaked. She's soaked. Not a happy cat. No, she got a bath. She's like her dad. She likes to get out in the weather. That cat is soaked. She's got like 5 places she can go, and somehow I don't know, maybe she likes it. All right, Dot, you got to take cover. You got to practice what you preach. She's already tired of hearing me. She's back in her bedroom. Yeah, she has her own room. Okay, so let's get back to the weather here. Chatham, still a decent sell from Alta Vista and Rustburg in the Appomattox. So let's go back and read these special weather statements here. They show up better on our radar Omega. This one expires in just 9 minutes, but we'll tell you that at 9:01, that was about a half an hour ago, we had the storms from Hurt to Meadows of Dan moving east at 40. So with that forward momentum, wind gust up to 50 miles per hour possible. Tree limbs blown down with this. Danville, Martinsville, South Boston, Alta Vista, Stewart, Halifax, and Hurt. We know the drill because, typically these start in the mountains, they move in the Roanoke, and then we know eventually Southside will get it. It's backwards, though, because normally Southside, they intensify as they come out of the Roanoke Valley, and Southside gets most of the rain and most of the severe weather. In this case, it's going to be the mountains. I think that take it on the chin by the time we tally up all the storm reports around the area, with the exception of those random local reports that we get sometimes with these summer-type storms. Locally heavy rain is going to quickly reduce visibility, already has. resulted in ponding of water on roadways. I've had some reports of that coming in. Standing water in low-lying areas. So, of course, you want to slow down. Because there's debris in the road and it's nighttime. You might be the person that drives up on that debris if you're an early riser tomorrow. So allow yourself some extra time. Expect a limb or a tree in the road. You don't know what's around the corner. If it's a low spot, you definitely want to make sure there's still road there and it hasn't been flooded out too bad. But there's going to be some areas that probably will be flooded out for the rest of tonight. It looks like I'm going to have to stay up a little later and watch that heavy rain. A lot of frequent cloud-to-ground lightning occurring. That's what makes it a thunderstorm. So seeking shelter is always a good idea. And just as a reminder, it looks like we're keeping that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for a few more minutes till 10 o'clock for the rest of our area. Now, I'm looking at local storm reports that are also coming in up here on the chat, which I can't show you, but I can read to you. And most of them are quarter-sized 1-inch hail. Let's see, little to no rainfall over the past 3 days where that advisory is out, but starting to get training. Okay, so that's a National Weather Service employee putting up a flood advisory and now some flash flood warnings in effect for the southwest part of our area that I've got shaded in green right here. So that includes Welch in the West Virginia, New Richmond. We don't talk about this area a lot. A lot of folks will do that. Let me see if I can't get a better vantage point here to show you. I've got a lot of different ways I can show it to you here. This might be easier to read. So Tazewell County, Frog Level, Richlands there on 460. You've seen an incredible amount of rain. It continues raining very hard now. Lightning with this, some gusty winds, but the main thing is just all the water that continues to come down out of the sky. And we'll look at the past 14 frames. You can almost go back to frame 1 and look at frame 14, and there's really not much difference. That is a worst case scenario for summertime storms because we've seen more and more water in the atmosphere. The Earth is warming. Whether or not you believe in the climate change or not, really it doesn't matter. It just matters that there's more water vapor and we are seeing the consequences of it. So we need to kind of prepare for the fact that rainfall rates of 4 inches an hour used to be unheard of, and now they're becoming more and more common. We had 4.7 inches on that map a second ago. Bland County, see, that's near High Rock, Crandon, Jenny-Naw there at Highway 42, Point Pleasant, Kimberling, Bastion, and Grapefield near Burke's Garden too, over the line there in the Tazewell and Frog Level. That's where we've got the flash flood warning in effect for another 305 minutes. So it's in effect until 2:45 a.m. Wednesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain has already fallen. That probably fell in 30 minutes, honestly, in some places. Additional rainfall of 1 to 3, so you're looking at 2 to 5 inches total are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. And your phones in this area should have alerted you to that, because flash flooding is actually more dangerous than just a garden variety storm. Small creeks and streams can become rivers. Urban areas and highways, underpasses, all those areas can get taken on with water, and it is very, very difficult to tell how deep that water is just by looking at it, especially when it's muddy like it is around here. We've got that red dirt. You say, oh, okay, that's about 6 inches deep, and you wade through it. Not that I've ever done this. And it ends up being a foot or two higher than you thought. So I would not advise heading out in any water. Turn around and don't drown. The good news in all of this is I don't see any severe thunderstorm warnings anymore, but we still do have the special weather statements out for these decaying storms. So these are going to weaken as they move past 29 in Alta Vista and Gretna and Chatham. You still have some heavier rainfall around Red Eye and Brookneal. But right now the concern, again, it's going to go right here. This area is one that I'm very concerned about. So what I'm going to do is go to my digital accumulation array. And this is what the radar thinks we have in rain gauges across this area. Alright, so in Tazewell County we've got about 1 to 2 inches of rain in the pink. But if we go up here to Grundy, you can see how the amounts go up to 2 to 3 inches of rain. And these are probably underdone because the air was tropical. So you may look at another product called, it's an older one that does the same thing, Storm Total Precip. So just get your bearings here. You can see the areas that were hit by rain today. And you've got some areas here with over an inch in Bedford County. You can see parts of Franklin County stayed dry so far. Very spotty again. NRV, Wytheville has seen nothing. But just up to the north, it is raining to beat the band. And let's see what we have here. 1.2, 1.35. Here we go. This is what I was afraid of. Just to the east of Grundy, we've got 5.46 inches of rain. That's 5.4 there. So this is extreme southwest Virginia and near 460 down through Richlands. Highway 16 into West Virginia, Welch, Coalfields. It's hard to imagine what that water can do, but I've seen it. One of the first stories I did when I worked in Roanoke was covered a drought flash flood. In other words, we had been so dry, I think it was 2002 or 3, and it literally almost wiped parts of Pearisburg off the map. And it rained the next day too, from these storms that just sit there. So we're nearing in on 5 inches. We're over 5 inches, 5.5 in the Grundy area. That's some dangerous rainfall, and it's going to run off. And believe me, the folks at the National Weather Service will put out the river flood warnings and all. It'll be on my Twitter page as well. But a lot going on there as well. And again, the thunder and lightning continues to increase now through Floyd County. I'm kind of getting an idea of the danger. This line just has not moved over the past hour and a half to 2 hours. So if we drew it, like a zone through here, you can see the front gets down to about right here and stops. That outflow kind of stops and gets a little bit further toward Charlotte Courthouse. It's moving up through here because the jet stream's pushing it, but the jet stream is more parallel to the front down here across far southwest Virginia. And we've probably got a little ripple of low pressure that's riding east. That creates lift. And so what you get is moisture overrunning the cooler air that we already had from the storms, and that just forms these big areas of heavy rainfall that can continue. And so for the poor folks up through Beckley and Charleston, where you have a lot of flooding already, probably ongoing, and you've got so much melting hail, so much debris to clean up. Unfortunately, I can't call it all clear. I've got to say that you could see some serious flash flooding tonight. We may end up seeing a flash flood watch out by morning if this were to continue. It just brings back memories of that 2016 flood where we had this going on all day, and this shouldn't be as bad, but you never know, and that's where you can get some prolific flooding. So I'm extrapolating this, and I'm thinking with time, this stuff that's developing here, I'm literally making a forecast as I'm on the air here. The stuff around Hillsville and the Floyd is starting to increase, and it's heading into Rocky Mount and Franklin County. So this is an area, Rocky Mount flooded in less than 20 minutes with one of the first storms it got hit with last week. And we saw just a lot of water running off the road there near the pool and Sheets. Powder Creek did flood in no time. It was pretty amazing because at my house the ground was dry and cracked and the grass was dead. And right up the road, just because of the rainfall rate, not the rainfall, the rate, they had about an inch in 20 minutes and it had nowhere to go. Up to a half-inch diameter hail coming out of Thaxton in Bedford County. I think I've got most of the reports up there for you, but it's all on my Twitter page. But yeah, I am very concerned. If I was a resident near a river or a creek, from Grundy to Tazewell to Bland, and we've also got the flood advisory out. It's harder to see for northern Smith and Wythe counties. And Pulaski too, Radford. I'd say this area, let me draw a box where I think. Here's your zone for flooding tonight. Got to be careful in Roanoke City too because of the way it's shaped, the big bowl. But these lines of heavier storms are moving pretty much due east, maybe a little bit south of east. So it'll be interesting to see if they contain those heavier rainfall amounts into the night. Sometimes what you actually get is an increase in rainfall amounts into the night. And again, these are those prolific rainfall rates. So, if we stay on the air another hour, some folks are going to have more than 4 inches of new rain in their rain gauge. I wanted to go over some of the forecasting here before I signed off. This is the latest HER model, which handled the change. It didn't have much to begin with, but let's see if I can get in tighter here. So near Roanoke, it handled that blow up that we had pretty well. And then it handles the training that we're seeing. So this is now looking at 11 p.m., another hour from now. So the HER says this dissipates by midnight. And we still have a couple of small cells out there toward Bluefield and Galax. Probably some dense fog as well. Well, hopefully the HER will be right and this will diminish. That stopped clawing the couch, trying to get attention. She knows I can't yell at her because I'm on the air. Sharpening her claws. And the front's going to stall out to tomorrow. I don't know if it gets through here or not, but it should be for Wednesday, somewhere between Roanoke and Raleigh. I think it's going to be more like over Danville. Models have a hard time at pushing fronts through. They don't slow them down enough in the summertime. This was the NAM from 18Z. Let's see how it did. It's 9:51, so this is 10 o'clock. Not really hitting on much. It doesn't look very accurate. There is some activity in far southwest Virginia it had. And then it weakened it so fast. So that was the initial thinking today. And once the afternoon runs started coming in from the other models, we knew we had a problem. So this was one of those runs that showed us right there. This is 9 o'clock, and that looks more accurate than any of the models I've shown. This is the FV3 3 kilometer. It's from INSEP. It's kind of a version of the GFS, but it's on a 3 kilometer grid, so it's a mix between a global model and the in the NAM, and it's doing a great job of hitting the heavy rain right now. This was a 12Z run. It didn't do an 18Z update, so it only updates every 12 hours, but it's saying that through 11, 12, it leaves it raining past midnight. And look how it back builds here. It goes back to Bristol and Wytheville toward 2, 3 in the morning. And because of that, it doesn't move the front. So what happens tomorrow? Well, it says that by 2, 3 o'clock, we're going to have more heavy storms pop up. Wow, from Lynchburg to Farmville. Look at Hampton Roads here. But back into our area, too. We could be seeing some rain. So south side, if you didn't get any rain tonight, looks like tomorrow may be the day you get the afternoon downpours. And I think you'll have to worry about flooding too, because you might get some more tonight actually with time. That front just kind of hangs out just to our east. And even going in the 60 hours here, which is Thursday night, you can still see some very heavy rain out of North Carolina. This is off of the FV3 high res. Let me change my parameter here. Does it have rain total? Yes. Let's just see for kicks what it has. That's the 0Z run just coming in. So this is the 12Z that we had earlier. And we'll go on in. That right there is 4 to 5 inches. And you know what? Remember the radar estimate? That was it. 1 to 2 inches of rain. Back in closer to home toward Roanoke and areas like that. And some spotty areas of 2-inch plus rainfall. So a lot of heavier rain. This is the new 0Z run. It's just now coming in. We've only got 19 hours worth of this so far. So this takes us through the morning. And this is suggesting that it keeps raining in spots enough for another 1 to, I'm looking at the color scale here, 1 to 2, maybe 2.5 inches of rain at the most. So it's backed off a little bit because we've already seen a lot of the rain. But now I'm a little worried it's underdoing some of what's happening. No model's going to be perfect, by the way. Let's look at the future radar since we're getting this new data coming in. So this is the 0Z, and it's 10 o'clock now, so we'll put this at 10 o'clock. That's right now. It is not initializing very well. It's pouring down rain down through here, and it doesn't have it. So I don't trust this run as much as I trust the 12Z run. A little bit of how to forecast. You look at what's happening now. If the model's off, then there you go. Got a special weather statement coming out of Pulaski, Central, Bland, and Wythe counties. That's with the heavier rainfall that we keep seeing. So these storms continue to impress the National Weather Service as they impress me with the rainfall. A lot of lightning here. NRV, yeah, you need to watch out for flooding. And when I say Mountain Empire, I'm talking I-77 and west. But going through Floyd County too, man, that's a lot of rain. And if this heavy rainfall gets to Copper Hill, and let me show you the topography a little bit more. Under the parkway, the border between Franklin and Floyd counties is very mountainous. And what I'm saying is if that gets right to the border and it keeps raining there, you'll see some runoff on the Pig River for sure. I know that because that's Dad's store. So we'll have to watch this very carefully. Looks like Pulaski, you're about to get hit hard again just by the heavier rainfall. I don't see a lot of wind. Didn't expect to see a lot of wind, but there's some stuff going on in the moisture department. That's just not good. There's a heavier cell near Halifax, still holding together. Don't want to forget you folks out there. South Boston, Cluster Springs, Crystal Hill. This looks like it's moving off to the east, but not the south anymore. If you kind of put the brakes on that. And has southern Franklin County filled in? Yep. So you had this front. That's the outflow boundary. It stalled. It got right to Martinsville and stalled. And now we've got overrunning rain. And overrunning summertime rain is a lot of water. A lot of water to put up with. So this is going to have to rain itself out at some point. But again, Tazewell, Bland, Pulaski, with far southwest Virginia, Floyd, even southern Pulaski and northern Carroll County and Franklin County. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned about your rainfall for the rest of the night. Showing you some more of what I was looking at today. The NSSL actually had this surviving, but it was very aggressive on pushing it all the way through the area. You can see how this model handled the rain right as far as making it into the area, but it kept going with it. And so it's already way off. Put this up to right now. That's what the model thought. And we know right now the rain's still right up through here. So that one didn't do very good. This is the ARW. The timing was a little slower, but still had this very aggressive movement with it, like a straight line wind event almost, and pushed it right through the area. I think you're going to see some big changes tomorrow when you wake up and look at the latest forecast. So we look at the National Blend of Models at 18Z. They actually did hint at this. They take all the models into effect. So you're looking at 2 a.m. still showing rain from Lonesome Pine to Tazewell to Blacksburg. Now, it's not a lot because it's a blend, okay? But it is showing you that's the bullseye of moisture through the rest of tonight. So the blend did pretty good. Our spaghetti lines are going crazy here as I load up my satellite data. I had this loaded, but I think I used up too much RAM. Looking over at some reports. I don't see any flooding reports, so that's good. It's not going to load, so I want to show you the moisture at 5,000 feet real fast. This is off of the 18Z now. You see these very high values coming into Virginia. This was today. This is tonight. Notice it shifts the wind from the southwest to the northwest, but the moisture kind of hangs around and sits there. And I bet if we hit refresh and we watch this 0Z run come in, you might be a little surprised at the change. So there's our big tongue of moisture, not moving out nearly as fast. You see just a hint of northwest flow, trying to dry it out. It fails, and so it leaves this big area of moisture right over us. So if you were watching maybe a newscast earlier today or whatever, and it looked like, yeah, tomorrow's going to clear out after the storms tonight or whatever, I'm telling you right now, as we're staying up late and watching the new data coming in together, that's not going to happen. It's going to rain heavily again tomorrow, probably in the form of scattered showers and heavier thunderstorms. But this really hangs on into tomorrow. And it wouldn't, it may continue in the Thursday and Friday, because with time, if we look at the Euro, and you can get the Euro free now at weather.cod.edu, but it just kind of shows you the upper level winds and where all the moisture is. So this was today's run. Again, it thought we were going to get drier, but it kept the moisture around south side for tomorrow. This is, again, it's probably going to update and go back on that. It had us a little drier for Saturday, and then it pulled the moisture backwards. It retrograded, and we had some possible tropical development in the Gulf and also off the shore from the stalled front. We got another system coming in right here. It's kind of digging on down, and those two kind of combine so that by the weekend, it's not constant rain, but you definitely have a dip in the jet stream, kind of like what we have right now. And so it's looking very, very unsettled. So I'll probably have to get a Patreon post out and get that out pretty good. Unfortunately, looking at more of the same. And yeah, I'm really concerned about the flash flooding potential. And it's rare that I'm actually on the air when the forecast changes like that. It happens in the winter sometimes. Let's look at the power outage real quick. See how folks are doing across the state. At least it's cooled off some. So you can see those two bullseyes here, Madison County. You've got a lot out here. I thought they did it by percent. Yeah, okay. There's your color. So about 30 to 50% out in Madison County. 10 to 30% out elsewhere from Orange County, the Culpeper. That area hit very hard. A little surprised it's not worse through this I-81 corridor here. And then in Bedford County and the Franklin County, we've had some updates here as well. You see Roanoke County there with 1,800 outages. Roanoke City was 751. Charleston, West Virginia, 2,400 out. And Franklin County, 256. Bedford, 290. And that's all because if you go to Virginia 511, you'll see these little cloud icons. Those are all areas where people have reported water over the roadway. That's kind of a zoomed in look for you. And you can see another one, Glen, Rich Creek. It's a very handy app to have. It's also, we were talking about Catawba earlier. There's coming out of 311, Roanoke County. They were hit so hard. All southbound lanes on Route 864 in Roanoke, vicinity of Bendemer Road, Bradshaw Road. Wow, a lot of other roads. Delays all over the place. And then you've got these other incidents where you've got vehicles hydroplaning, things of that nature. So again, you're going to be the eyes and ears of VDOT for some of you. I mean, they'll be out, but if you're getting up early in the morning, keep in mind that this rainfall is showing no signs of weakening. Let's look one more time at that loop. Ugh. Dude, it's just sitting there. So the front has stalled. We've got a new special weather statement out for this. So we're going to have some strong storms in the mountains tonight. Probably not severe, but flash flooding is a big danger at night. So I'm going to put out some information on that very shortly. I'm also going to get to work on my 7-day forecast. I'll have them for different areas. In other words, I'm going to have a 7-day for Bluefield. I'm going to have a 7-day for Tazewell. I'm making these. It's not from an app. It's what I'm going to do for my Patreons now. I'm going to have a 7-day for Hillsville, one for Floyd, which, by the way, is getting hammered right now with heavier rainfall and more upstream. There'll be one for Rocky Mount. I've got a couple of them for Southside made already. I just got to put the data in. Halifax, South Boston will all have I'm trying to give everybody some fair treatment here on the 7 days. And so tomorrow will be the first day of that. And each day I'll give out the generic 7-day, and then I will put the extra, one of the extra 7 days with it. So I can advertise that that's available on Patreon. Still going to keep that at $1 a month. It's going to take me all night to do it, but I believe in keeping it as cheap as possible because you guys have been good to me, and $1 a month is as low as I can go. So I'll do that and hope that folks sign up to get their personalized. It'll be a neat challenge. See if I can get it right down to your neighborhood, because a lot of times I'm just kind of averaging Roanoke and those areas out. And then we may go more regional. We got Culpeper up here, Spotsylvania. Got a flash flood warning, multiple trees down. That area can't catch a break either. I was looking to see if that was a flash flood emergency. It kind of looked that way. There may be some of that, honestly. So watch out. Very active pattern, and a new special weather statement out now for Halifax. So let me get to it, but I appreciate everybody watching on Lula. And we've got a brand new flash flood warning out for Bland, Smith, and Tazewell counties. I think that was the same one that was out. They just extended it. So be careful tonight, folks. I have much more for you tomorrow.